Hi everybody, Calamity here, and I think Heroes of the Storm is way better than League or Dota. Today's video is going to be all about the Dialogues of the Desert Sage's weapon. This is an event exclusive weapon that you can get right now, currently in the latest Genshin update. I'm going to show you how to get it, what the weapon does, and who I recommend to use it on. So let's get started with the actual how do you get the weapon. First of all, you need to do the alchemy event. It's the Alchemical Ascension event. Sorry if I mispronounced that. If you don't see this event, you need to be at least AR 20. So if you're like brand new to the game, get your AR up, and then you'll eventually be able to access this once you get to 20. Next up, just actually do the event. Just participate in it. As you get your points up, you're going to be able to grab the Artisan's Gift, which is the staff. This is the Desert Sage's pole arm weapon. And you can grab it here, as well as the refinement materials for it. So you can get this weapon up to R5 for free just by participating in the event. So you just reach revenue milestones and you'll be given the weapon, as well as some primo gems and some other extra goodies along the way. Now, let's talk about what the weapon actually does. It's called Dialogues of the Desert Sages, with a substat of HP percentage, which straight up tells you this isn't really going to be good for a lot of DPS or even sub-DPS characters. It has the weapon effect called Principle of Equilibrium. When the wielder performs healing, restore 8 energy. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds and can occur even when the character is not on the field. So very straightforward weapon effect here. There's no like, hey, maybe this can work with this and that. Like, no, you're going to want to give this to, well, a healer, right? If you want to take advantage of the weapon's effect, that is. Which leads us into our next portion of the video, where I recommend a few characters that can use this weapon. The first character is going to be Yao Yao. Now, as you can see, I haven't actually leveled this weapon yet. I'll get on that soon, I promise, but that's not important. Yao Yao is a Dendro healer who can do all of her healing off-field as well, because she summons these radish-throwing bunnies that can heal you when she's not on the field. So being able to restore healing and energy to herself means she can basically just keep spamming these bunnies over and over and over again. However, it should be noted that most of the characters that I'm going to recommend can use the Favonius Lance instead, which is universally praised as one of the best support weapons in the game. So it's going to be hard to beat it, and in my opinion, the Dialogues of the Desert Sages can be good in some situations where energy isn't needed. So for example, a Yao Yao could be that character, because if you're using her in, let's say, a Hyper Bloom team where Kuki Shinobu is the one that's triggering Hyper Bloom, then you don't really need the energy in that case, because, you know, you just need to use Kuki Shinobu's skill. And if Jing Cho is on the team, in most cases, he's using a sacrificial sword, and that alone is usually more than enough to replenish his burst consistently. So a weapon like this, being able to just give your Yao Yao a bunch of HP percentage, a bunch of energy restoration to herself, could be really solid as well. And it also means you don't have to build crit rate on the character that's using it. So that can also be a nice bonus for you to think about. Next up is a character I don't have. It's going to be Chevrus. She is a pole arm user. You know, I'm sure some of you have in the previous banner. I did not pull on it, so I don't have her. She does heal, and even though like Chevrus's burst isn't like the most damaging thing in the game, it's, you know, it's just nice to have it more consistently. Again, you also don't have to worry about building crit rate for her if you give her a Favonius Lance, and then we can see the HP percentage is going to help you nicely with her HP regeneration over time. All right, last but certainly not least on my character recommendations is going to be Mika. Mika is yet another quick healer that can benefit from having the Dialogues of the Desert Sages. And since this character does do a lot of his healing through his burst, it's going to be really nice to get that extra energy. Also keep in mind that 8 energy is going to be much higher once you get this to Refinement 5. I'm not actually sure what the Refinement 5 energy restoration is going to be, but at least it's going to be more than 8, which is really nice. So really solid weapon for him if you don't have a Favonius Lance or another support weapon. Surprise character recommendation right here. I'm going to go ahead and recommend this weapon for Candace, and that is because Candace scales off her HP, and this weapon gives you basically a ton of it. However, Candace does not heal, so she will not be getting the benefits of this weapon's effect, unfortunately. And I know it's a bit of a stretch, but you know, most characters, or most players that use Candace either give her a Favonius Lance or give her, I believe, the white tassel, because it's simply just for the HP percentage. So you could, if you don't want to give her a white tassel, maybe someone else is using it, maybe you don't have one or want to build one, or maybe you don't want to give her a Favonius Lance, well, you could give her a Dialogues of the Desert Sages. This is not a bad weapon for her at all. One more secret surprise character recommendation that might surprise some of you. Now, I am only recommending this on Hu Tao. Only if you like are a brand new player and she ends up being on a rerun banner in the future and you just like straight up don't have anything for her, like even a Dragon's Bane. Then you could give her this, because she does benefit from getting a ton of HP percentage, and funny enough, she does heal herself through her burst, so she'd be getting, you know, a bunch of energy back. So this could be an option for her, but it's definitely nowhere near a good option. Definitely give her a Dragon's Bane for a 4-star weapon option, if anything. But just thought I'd recommend it, just, you know, just to give you an idea. And with that being said, that is pretty much it for the Dialogues of the Desert Sages. If you did skip my character section and you just came over to the this weapon versus the Favonius Lance section, let's talk about it. As I mentioned before, this weapon only gives energy to the person wielding it, not your entire team, which is what the Favonius Lance does. However, to get the Favonius Lance weapon effect to proc, you need to build crit rate on the character wielding it. So there's a bit of a trade-off here. So if you're using this weapon on a character who doesn't really need to provide energy to their team, the example I gave earlier was a Hyper Bloom team with Kuki Shinobu. She just needs to use her skill in order to proc Hyper Bloom. That's how she does it consistently. And if Jing Cho is on the team, then he usually has a Sacrificial Blade, which is, again, more than enough to usually get him to burst consistently. So that's where you don't really need a Favonius Lance on, say, your Yao Yao, who I recommended this weapon for earlier. So there's your trade-off. You know, you can free up a Favonius Lance for maybe another support character that needs it more than, you know, Yao Yao does. So it can be very useful in that kind of situation. I also mentioned that you don't need to build crit rate on the character using this weapon. So you can, for those of you that went for like a main stat crit rate circlet or something like that, or you were like, oh, I can't find any crit rate on my substats, well, you know, good news here is you can just focus on the HP percentage for better healing, scaling, and some energy recharge, you know, if your character needs it. The trade-off there, if you're okay with sacrificing a bit of team-wide energy for a bit of more self-sustaining energy for the healer themselves. And that is the major differences between this weapon and the Favonius Lance. Makes building the healer / support a little bit easier as well. That's going to be a wrap for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the weapon. Is there any other characters that you guys think I missed that could utilize this weapon? You know, possibly a future character as well. It's always like an ideal situation, right? Because, you know, this might be a weapon for a future upcoming 4-star or 5-star character even. I'm not sure. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to try to answer them. Don't forget to leave a like and or subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. We'll be making more in the future. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.